Hello and welcome to a new vlog. I'm about to hop in the shower. Dan and Stan are getting back from the cinema. Boaz is asleep. Very early in the morning we are leaving for Paris. It has been such a whirlwind. It was already going to be a bit of an adventure. The whole premise of the vlog is neurodivergent family gets trains and modes of transport, like we're getting trams and buses and all sorts of things to get to France. We're going to Paris in the morning. We're spending a night there. It's the Olympics. We're not going to anything at the Olympics, but we're going to soak up all the vibes, hope to see some big screens, see the Eiffel Tower, all that jazz. And then the following day we'll do a bit more Paris, and then we get the TGV to Montpellier. We spend the night in Montpellier, and the next day we get the tram and then the bus to Lodève, and then there's an enormous hill, and we'll be in my parents' place in Lodève. My parents won't be there. Normally we fly and they just pick us up at the airport, but Dan and I don't drive, so we're doing it this way. It's going to be an adventure. Hopefully it's going to be really fun. We wanted to take you along for the ride, but it's ended up being even more complicated and dramatic, sorry for the motorbike, than we were expecting, because one, Stan's got an ear infection. We had to take him to the out of hours GP this morning and he's got an ear infection, so we need to travel with antibiotics that we have to keep cool. So we're going to take like a picnic, one of those cool bag things with some ice packs in it. I've actually been to M&S as well to get some food for us to eat on the journey, because we're leaving at like 6 o'clock in the morning tomorrow. The other thing is that because of the Olympics, well, not because of the Olympics, but basically some people have organised fires in signal boxes all around the train system in the south of France and around Paris, which has meant tons of trains have been cancelled. It's all been a bit of a hoo-ha, people trying to get to the Olympics. That was 48 hours ago. Only half an hour ago did I learn that Eurostar is now saying they hope that for Monday things will be back to normal and they won't be cancelling trains, because for the last 2 days they've been cancelling 12 trains a day, including the 801, which is the one that we're getting. So in the last half an hour it has at last looked like we can hope that we're going to get to the Eurostar in the morning and there's going to be a train for us to get on. So pretty much all of the packing is done. I've got the kids quite a few like activity books and zip up pouches from Amazon and stuff that will show you along the way, will show you what works and what entertains them. I think it's really interesting to see kind of what works for a family and what entertains people. I got today a couple of extra like little travel games from Waterstones in a panic, because I was like, if we're on a train it's like delayed by 5 hours, we're gonna need extra things to do. I've got kind of like colouring that's age appropriate for each of them, and a new toy each. So I will show you all of that on our journeys along the way of what we're packing and what works and what they're enjoying. But yeah, that's the plan. I'm going to hop in the shower once Dan and Stan are back. And then there's not that much else to do. Packing food for the boys late tonight. Our friend Francis is coming over to look after the flat and a Mabel. I've watered all the plants, I've cleaned the fridge, we've changed the sheets, all of that sort of stuff. So we will basically see you early tomorrow morning for the beginning of our adventure to get to France. Just to quickly show you the case. All of my clothes are in that packing cube there, except for some like pants and swimming costumes which are shoved around. That's all of the boys' clothes. I did the 4 and 4 thing for them as well. I don't know if you watched my last video, but it was about packing light and creating outfits, as many outfits as possible with only a few items. So 4 tops and 4 bottoms, 1 dark, 1 light, 1 patterned, 1 bright colour. And so I've actually kind of done something similar for the boys as well. This is nappies and wet wipes and that kind of stuff. My sandals are in there, and then on this side it's all of the boys' swim stuff and all of Daniel's clothes. And I think we're going to be all right. I've gotten out what the boys are wearing tomorrow already. I'll pack those. That's my book I'm going to pack. I'll pack my journal. I need to just get Boaz to try on these 2 different kinds of shoes to check which ones fit better so I can pack those. This is my outfit, which I tried on again in the last video, ready to go for tomorrow. So yeah, I think there's not that much left to do. We're in the taxi. All is going to plan. I think it's going to be alright. Different activities, as you have seen. Stan's now watching on the iPad. I downloaded some stuff before we came. He's got headphones that he loves wearing, Mario ones, and Boaz still feels like he's won the lottery if he is just at least even watching the screen. He doesn't need sound, and they're both having some snacks. One of the kinds of Tupperware we brought with us is this kind that folds down. So that's already come in really handy because Stan's eaten loads of the stuff that was in here and now I've been able to press it down like this. So
how much is left?
We're about halfway. Hey gang! This is our front door. We're here. This is the bedroom. And you come through to the living space. They've made up the bed for us because we're going to be using both of them. There's a little kitchenette and then the bathroom's through there. And this is like a little breakfast bar. Unfortunately, there's no access to the terrace, but I mean, I don't know if we'd really use that anyway. The TV. Nice. Bottles of water. Madeleines, they'll probably go down a treat. I think this is going to be really good. Bathroom. Nice big shower. Awesome. This is such a good little space. Rather than having a hotel, like there's so much more space to have the two boys and space to run around. And it was difficult finding somewhere that would have a travel cot even. And this way we can just each have a boy in the bed with us, which is what we'll do. So yeah, we're here. We've arrived in our apartment.
Gare d'Austerlitz. Si nous arrivons à l'escale de la Tour Eiffel, we are at Eiffel Tower stop.
I'll fill you in on everything later, but we've had a change of plans. We're leaving Paris early and we're rushing for an earlier train, so fingers crossed we make it. Daddy, you got a baby coming. Do you want one, baby? Would you like an olive? You still chewing your olive? Okay. Do you want to do fishing? We are on. There's a bumpy shuttle bus to take us to the tram. We have a tram for an hour to Mossel, and then from Mossel we get a bus for an hour to Lodève. But yeah, there's definitely lots of modes of transportation, but we're getting there.
Sounds like that should be in the library. What's she doing?
No, I do. Hey, me.
Just for a bit of context, we thought we would get a bus from Mossel straight to Lodève. For some reason the bus just didn't come. Various people have had the same issue. Here's all our stuff. So we got a bus to Gignac, and then we're waiting for a bus from Gignac to Lodève. The entertainment so far is picking up far congealed sound and throwing it. Luckily throwing it in places that it's okay to throw it, but yeah, trying to keep them entertained. It's a slower journey than we were expecting. We were expecting it would be lots of modes of transportation, but yeah, it's even slower than the original plan due to this cancelled bus. But we're in good spirits.
Video.
We're in Lodève!
Yay!
We're in Lodève! Yeah! I've been puked on, but we're in Lodève!
Yeah. Everybody smells like you. Mr. Blue Sky. Mr. Blue Sky.
Okay, we've popped into Carrefour for some supplies for supper. We're fully in Lodève and we're just about to do the hill, which is our last bit. It's not exactly another mode of transportation, but it is quite an impressive hill. So we're going to do that and then we will truly feel like we have arrived. Bar's got travel sick. I think it's travel sick anyway, and puked all over me on the bus just as we were going to get off. So luckily we didn't have a whole journey in it, but I am looking forward to taking my clothes off and getting in the pool. But yeah, we've made it. I can't really believe we've made it, but we have. I'll fill you in on details later. Okay, I'm gonna need 2 hands on the pram for this. Oh, we did it. Oh, well done, Danny.
You believe we can achieve?
Is it cold?
See on my finger.
I think it'll be easier if I feel the water. Oh, it's going to be very refreshing. Oh my goodness. That was absolute perfection. After such a long journey, to be able to just get in the pool. So good. Daniel's got the boys downstairs so that I can just have some peace. I can hear little mosquitoes, which is Daniel's worst thing in the world. He says he's been bitten 12 times in the space of 5 minutes. So he's not very happy. And I feel like I should move because I don't have any mozzie stuff on me and I can hear them squeaking in my ears. But that swim was just utter perfection. The swifts or swallows, not sure which ones they are, at this time of day it's the best time to swim because they come down onto the surface of the water for a drink and then swim back up again, fly back up again. It's amazing. The bats sometimes come out too, but they're not out yet tonight. But yeah, the swifts and the swallows. The swallows? The swifts and the swallows. The swallows and the swifts are beautiful. I'll see if I can film them for you. Hello, so as promised, I wanted to have a little sit down and talk you through what actually happened, what worked, what didn't work, the adaptations we made. You will have heard that we ended up getting a different train and leaving Paris earlier. At one stage we had expected to spend a night in Montpellier and we changed that too. So there are some things that we decided the way we'd kind of set it up wasn't going to be the best way to do it, so we changed it. And I've got the stuff that the kids were enjoying on the journey because I think that's useful as well, in case you want any inspiration in terms of stuff that you might not have thought of and how we did that, because I think that worked really well, as did the having a cool bag. And initially, as I said, that was for Stan's medicine, but having that cool bag with the ice packs and having a load of lovely M&S food that we all liked was a really good thing too. But to get to the bottom of the change of the travel, basically, I will get into all of this stuff because that first leg of the journey, that was so helpful, all of the journey and the journey home, really, we packed really well in terms of things for the boys to do. They were very relaxed on all of the modes of transportation, except for the first 5 minutes of the flight back, but we can talk about that in a bit. But yeah, basically the journey itself went really well. Eurostar was there for us, super easy journey. Arrived in Paris, everyone very happy, apartment was perfect. Everyone, you know, that worked really well for all of us. The little kind of area that you could sit at, like the breakfasty bar thing, with the bench and the 2 chairs. They loved sitting there. We could all sit and eat there together or do Lego or whatever. So all of that was great. What we hadn't bargained for was the fact that we thought we'd been super clear about kind of like the process of how we were getting there. We found with Stan the thing that works absolute best with transitions and journeys and anything new is for him to really understand each step of the process. Sometimes we even draw it out, so that he has this like visual representation of almost like storytelling of what's going to happen over a period of time. And he had completely understood we were going to Paris first before we went to Les Dev. But what dawned on us, as he made it clear to us, was that he thought we were going to go to Paris, see the Eiffel Tower, then go to Les Dev, which is what we were doing, but he literally thought they were close enough together that we could go to Paris, see the Eiffel Tower, and go straight to my parents' holiday home in Les Dev. And so for him, the period of time waiting for that to happen, where I had thought it's a lot of modes of transportation, let's go slowly, let's make it easy, we'll spend the night in Paris, we'll do fun stuff. The next day we can get to Montpellier, we can spend the night in Montpellier, so it's not so many hours on trains all in a go. Like we'll make it a holiday, we'll make the journey a holiday. But actually for Stan, he found it incredibly frustrating that we'd seen the Eiffel Tower and then we weren't just in Lodève straight away. So we thought we'd done a good job of explaining everything, but the time scale is the bit that was missing. We hadn't fully explained the fact that there'd be big chunks of time in between. We'd just talked about the highlight bits. And we went to see the Eiffel Tower. The things that were great is we went on the bateau bus as friends had recommended to us. So we had, you know, a couple of days before been seeing the Olympic opening ceremony on telly and all of the cool like golden installations across that building. And then we found ourselves on the river seeing it in real life 2 days later. That was super cool. We also went to, what is it called? It's going to annoy me that I can't remember the name. It's the park it's basically the Botanical Gardens in Paris, and it's got a little museum kind of paleontology but other stuff too. So that was great. We went there, and if you saw us on that little roundabout, that was there. We got an ice cream and we went into the museum, and the museum's really, really cool and has loads of really cool bones, basically lots of dinosaur stuff, which Stan loved. The carpentry was also really beautiful. So just in terms of mine and Danny's like design background and his understanding of building stuff, it was a really lovely museum to be in. There was a huge Leuroplurodon, sorry for the sirens, skeleton, which you saw Stan kind of like pretending to be scared and run off. That's like his favourite dinosaur. So all of that was really great. And yeah, the boat allowed us to go from one to the other. So I think we started there and then we got the boat along to the Eiffel Tower, and that was cool. But basically once we got to the Eiffel Tower, Stan was just completely knackered from the journey, getting up early, being in a different place. Also, it's a real thing with autistic kids that sometimes they can just be exhausted in their bodies and just feel like they can't walk anymore. And this was the thing that was tricky, because what we do in London with that is we just have a scooter with us and we'll just pull him on the scooter rather than expect him to scoot himself. But we didn't have the scooter with us, and it wouldn't have worked anyway on the terrains, and it would have been an extra thing to take, and we didn't want it in Lodève, so we didn't have the scooter. So that was a big thing for him, that he just got so exhausted that he was getting really upset, and he was just like, I'm not going to move unless someone carries me. So poor Daniel, it was incredibly hot. I've got kind of like Boaz in the pram, but Daniel finds himself having to carry Stan, who is basically too heavy really now to be on Daniel's shoulders. He's 6 and it's just a bit full on. And what just became evident was that Stan was just desperate to get to Lodève, and he was finding the lack of structure and just not knowing exactly what we were doing in Paris, even though we were like, we'll do this and then this, you know, it wasn't, he couldn't get his head around it, and it was really hot and he was knackered. And Danny and I were like, does it make sense really to, when we travelled to Montpellier, when Montpellier is so close to Lodève, doesn't really make sense to spend an additional night in Montpellier and draw this out. Like, let's actually just get to Lodève faster. So the original plan had been stay the night in Paris and then have quite a long day in Paris the next day and get the train to Montpellier and to basically arrive in the evening and just sleep there in the hotel and then leave the next day for Lodève. What we decided to do instead was actually leave Paris much earlier in the morning, go to Montpellier with the view to just keep travelling on, which is what we did. And that worked really, really well. And luckily the Montpellier hotel that I'd booked on bookings.com, and I knew that I deliberately did it knowing to pick somewhere that we could have a full refund. So I don't think we even paid for it. I think it was just reserved and we would have paid when we got there. So I just cancelled it. And we cancelled the train that we were going to get and had to get a much earlier train. And I think the original train there was a change. So there was 2 chunks and one of them wasn't refundable, but the other one was. But because of not paying for the hotel and the train that we got wasn't very expensive, it didn't feel like it cost more money particularly to do it this way. It was more that we were just suddenly like, okay, we're just gonna go, okay, back, let's bounce. And the thing that we didn't get to do is one of the reasons I wanted to go to Paris is there's a store called Merci, which was a real inspiration for Smug as well as other places around the world. And I love going to Paris and going there. And I would always go in September for London Design Festival. Obviously it wasn't September, it was August, or maybe it was even still July at that point. But I used to go every year basically. And I was really looking forward to getting to go to Merci. We were hoping to go to some local parks. We were hoping to potentially like go out to a little brasserie where Danny and I could have a meal out and the boys could be doing something else with their activity books or watching or whatever. And those things I think we were holding on quite tightly to. We were like, we really want those bits that feel like they're the bits for us. But we decided it was the right thing to do, to just go. And actually, by the time we'd arrived in Lodève, I said to Dan, do you know what could work really, really well and would help with the fact that we didn't get to do those things we wanted to do? October half term, Paris for a few days. Like, I think if we stayed in exactly the same apartment and we'd have to really explain, like, this doesn't mean we're going on to Lodève, we're just stopping in Paris and doing some fun stuff and coming home. I think that could be a really lovely family city break. We're quite limited in the things that we do because going to new places is quite full on for us as a family. But it would be really nice to make, so you have to just go slowly, baby steps with these things. And then like Lodève, for example, now is home from home, so is Hive. You know, those places that Stan feels completely confident and comfortable being, but just new stuff all of the time doesn't work so well. And I don't think it works very well for Daniel either, to be honest with you. But yeah, I kind of feel like October half term we could go to Paris, stay in the same place, go really slow, be really clear on what we were doing, go back to some places he loved, go to some playgrounds, blah, 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 and potentially all feel really good in Paris. So that's the plan, is to have added Paris to that list of like, that's our next place to crack, that it can be a place that we go to regularly and we all have the things that we look forward to and do there that feels good. So yeah, we changed the plan and we went to Montpellier train station. There's 2 train stations, so we actually went to Montpellier, south of France. And so with that one, you need to get a little navette to the tram, whereas the other one, what's it called? I can't remember what the other Montpellier one is called. But anyway, you get a little navette, and the navette takes you to Place d'Europe, and then you can get the tram, and then you can get the bus. And as you saw, the buses were a bit tits up, so that was interesting. But honestly, every single mode of transportation worked really, really well, other than, you know, obviously that didn't work well. But while we were on those modes of transportations, the boys did really well, other than Burr's getting travel sick and puking on me. And some of them, we were just chilling, having a chat, looking out the window. Others, they were really engaged in doing stuff like the Eurostar, where they were both quite busy, as you saw. So I wanted to show you some of the things that they did. Colouring was one of the things, and Stan didn't really use his colouring on the journey. He just used it once we were actually on holiday. Shout out to these zip-up bags. So got these on Amazon. They have been brilliant. I think they were like a pack of 10 or something. I did yellow ones for Boaz and blue ones for Stan. And this is Boaz's colouring stuff. And I think that this is so clever. These are Crayola pens that only work on this specific paper. So you get a load of sheets in so many different themes. This is Paw Patrol. So he's just scribbled all over them. But the pens only work on this, and the colour comes out as you would expect. But if you try and draw them on something else, they don't. So they don't, you know, go all over the floor when he was doing it at the train station. So it's basically like no mess colouring, which is so good. I think we've had a Peppa Pig one before as well. But that was really brilliant for Boaz. He's at a stage where he loved having that kind of freedom to be able to do that. And if he was feeling antsy and was wanting to wander around like he did at the train station, and we all wanted to sit down, plunking him on the floor and just being like, here, have some pens and just draw on the floor on these, was perfect and absolutely no mess. Stan's ones are really good as well. Actually, I might leave a link to them because Boaz got one of these. I don't know if you follow me on Instagram, but I shared it on Insta stories. He got one of these out, unfortunately, and drew all over my white Eames chair. But they did say that they were not waterproof, the opposite, that they were really easy to wash off. And I just got a wet cloth and wiped the whole thing off and it was fine. So they really come off very well. And I feel like, as somebody who has a kid who goes to school now, I'm always just like, why do you use these paints and pens that do not wash out of their clothes? So these are really good. I will share a link to those. I'll share a link to all of this stuff, but those pens are worth sharing. And then he's just got like a Mario colouring book. It's just lots of like white sheets of black drawings of different characters in Mario that he can then colour in. This was awesome actually. This was a last minute decision and it was so good, and you'll have seen Boaz playing this on the train from Paris to Montpellier. But it's a fishing game. It comes in a box, but again, we just put it in here. It was so good. Basically, anything we wanted to travel with that was a toy, we just decanted into these. So it's just like a normal fishing game. It's got little rods, loads of little things, and you can literally, like, because the train was quiet enough, we were sitting in a those ones, the TGV, there's like a little table that sticks out the side slightly, but it doesn't take up all the space, so you've got quite a lot of floor room. Could literally just chuck this on the ground and he was just sitting on the floor of the train playing it, which worked really well because that train's several hours. And then it was really good to have that with us on holiday as a toy to be able to play with. So that was great. The other thing that we did like that was Lego. So I got them, I got Stan some Lego for the journey, and it was a Ninjago dragon. But basically what I did was, I split it. You know how Lego comes in their packs and it's like numbered? I split it so that this one was in our hand luggage and the other half in a different one. Like this was packed like 1 and 2 and the instructions, and the other one was pack 3 and 4, and that was in the suitcase, zipped up in these separate things. And as he made it, like, so he took out the instructions and we'd open the first pack, but we had it like open in this so he could put his hand into it so it didn't spill everywhere. At home we always use a tray for Lego, but that worked really well, and that meant we kind of didn't have the box because it would have been quite big and bulky. And then even taking it homemade in something like this, we just like literally took the dragon's like head off and legs and tail, and then had the body and the leg and that, and then you can still have it relatively flat and just put it in our suitcase. So that worked really well. And then the activity books that we bought them, you will have seen Boaz playing with his Paddington like activity book. This was really cute and a good age for him, and actually he did pretty much all of it, but has still like looked through it since, because he likes reading the little bits that there are, and he could still like do some more colouring in it. But this was really, really cute. He likes this. He likes like the Paddington TV programme. So that was nice. And anything for him like that with stickers just entertains him for a while. There was a little maze to do that, I don't know, maybe Stan did that, or maybe Daniel did it with him. And then Stan's one was Minions 2, which was more like proper word searches and all that sort of thing. There's a pencil in here as well, but there's more to do on this. Stickers, word searches, spot the difference, all that sort of thing. And they really enjoyed doing that, and it was really fun that they had one each. It worked really well that they had one each. They didn't necessarily always do it at the same time, but it just kind of felt, I think for Boaz, it felt like really grown up for him to have the same thing as Stan. And then this was the last minute thing that I got from Waterstones, and I'm so pleased I did. It is awesome. So it's a game where you press on, basically, and it's like one of those fidget toys, but you push the back to pop it out, and then when you press on, the lights come up, and basically what you do is you push it in what it says, and then you keep pushing the back, and you have to do this, and it's great. But also you can change the volume, you can change it to no noise, which is so good on like a mode of transportation, so your kids aren't being annoying and making a racket for other people. But also, neither of them really understood how to play it. They just liked pressing the buttons and seeing the flashing lights. Boaz just loved having it, walking around going, cheese, pretending it was a camera. But this has got such legs, because I think if Stan could be bothered to sit down and work out how you actually play it, he would really, really enjoy actually playing it, and it will keep you focused and busy for quite a long period of time. Also, they both got quite good reflexes and very good spatial awareness and hand-eye coordination, so they would, you know, find it really satisfying and get quite engrossed in it. So that was also, it's called Time Pop. So I'm really pleased that we got that. You will have also seen a little star with the same things like this from Lywood that Boaz was playing with, that was really like peaceful and nice on the train, and then Danny left it in the pocket. It's always so sad when things like that happen, because that was I think I'm going to repurchase it if I can find it, but that was what I gave Stan to go to nursery with when he missed me, because the smooth little bits, like he loves rubbing my mole, and I was like, this is, you know, you just rub on this and think of mummy's mole, then you'll be okay. And then Boaz has been playing with it and really enjoying it on that journey, so that's a bit of a shame. So we might repurchase that because it's a really nicely designed one. Obviously you can just get those fidget toys everywhere, but that's quite like a nicely designed one, nice colours. So yeah, the other thing is the headphones. The Wi-Fi never works anywhere, so I always make sure that I download some stuff on Netflix. You can download a couple of movies, and then you can't obviously just scroll and watch whatever you want, but you can watch what you've downloaded. These are Mario headphones. He loves Mario. We got them at a moment. He'd never had anything like this before, and so everything, like having it Mario themed, would be that he's more likely to sort of accept it and like it. But he really loves wearing these. I think obviously it's quite nice, isn't it, on a train, if you've done all your activities and you had something to eat and your parents are like, yeah, you can watch something, that's always a winner. But he really likes wearing these. I think they're not noise cancelling, but I think he has that experience that when they're on and he's being able to watch something else, it's really like relaxing for him, and really like kind of regulating in terms of his feelings, and he feels really, really chilled and happy when he's got these on. And sometimes even once we've kind of turned the iPad off, he keeps these on because it's just quite nice feeling on his ears, everything's less loud. They come with a wire, they're chargeable, so you just recharge them, and then they come with a wire that goes into the iPad. But Dan's also got like a little adapter that means you can plug it into your phone. So sometimes we've been caught short, and Dan has that with him anyway, just because he's got some old headphones he needs it for, and that's been quite good in moments where it's just like he just needs a minute. If we can just focus on the screen, it will be a good thing for everybody, and then you can kind of just plug them into your phone. So yeah, that's it really. That's the reflection. And then the journey home on the plane was absolutely fine. Like, we would 100% do it this way again, not worrying about having a car. Like, we didn't need a car, it was completely fine. I think there are journeys that we'd love to do in the UK that we do need a car for, in like more rural areas and things. We'd love to go and get to experience that. We can't without a car, so I think it probably is time we get on with learning to drive. But in terms of this journey, like, it went so well in terms of the modes of transportation. My dad, who absolutely can drive, is going to go in October, and he's decided to do it the way we did it, just doing trains and trams and buses and navettes. But yeah, journey home we did with my brother because he was going to go and watch some football for the Olympics, so we got the same bus, and then maybe we got off with left at that point, and he hopped in an Uber to a different train station, and we got the tram and then the bus to the airport. Flight home was super easy, but the boys were quite excited when they first sat down, and that was a bit full on. And we were those parents with like the naughty children, but they weren't actually being, you know, like when everyone else around you is feeling like, oh, they're naughty. They actually weren't being naughty. They were just really excited. We'd started really early in the morning. They'd already done all of these different modes of transportation. They'd done really well, but then they just sort of were overexciting each other, and they were just being far too loud. So yeah, that was fine in the end, and the journey was quite straightforward. But that one bit, there was like 5 minutes of just, I basically don't really have I've got a really high tolerance for not worrying too much about what other people think of me. But in that situation, I was just like, oh, I've kind of had enough of the judgment of the tactic and the people around us, obviously assuming like we don't know what we're doing, and they're just overexcited. It wasn't that bad. So anyway, that was the one bit that was actually a bit stressful, more stressful than being puked on by poor Boaz on the way there. But yeah, even with that, we live near Finsbury Park, and so you can literally get the train from Gatwick all the way back home. So it was super easy, really good, and definitely completely worked for them. As I say, we packed well, worked well for me and Dan. I don't think we had a single argument over modes of transportation, over any of the journey. It went really, really well. And I just think the thing that we have learned is just that additional thing of going to Paris, and it was quite an obviously, like, the bloody Olympics was happening, it was quite overwhelming, it was very busy, it was very hot. And though it's really cool that we got to do the things that we did get to do, it was the right thing to do to leave earlier, but we would love to go back. So fingers crossed, October half term, we'll be spending a bit of time in Paris. But yeah, we felt with the prep that we did and just being kind of adaptable, it went really well. And we had a wonderful time. Like, we certainly all look back on the holiday as a huge success, and we absolutely loved it. And when we were leaving France, because we were there for a week, Stan was sort of like, why are we going home? Like, the rest of the family, because my brother's family came and joined us, they're all staying longer. Why aren't we staying 2 weeks? And I was just like, well, maybe we can next time. The thing is, the mozzies that I mentioned, like, Dan and Stan get really quite allergic reactions to mosquitoes. They get really kind of inflamed. And Stan actually doesn't really moan about it very much. Daniel finds it really difficult. So, and he doesn't like being hot. But we were in and out of the pool so much, I think the mosquitoes aren't that interested in you if you're really, really cold. So we were in and out of the pool. It kind of, that problem dissipated really. It wasn't that big a deal later. Also, my brother and his family arrived, so there's just more people to bite, and it was a fairer distribution. I felt like Boaz and I didn't get anything like as many bites, but they didn't flare up. They were just like little bites, whereas Stan and Dan get these like really inflamed, it's almost like a rash all over them. But yeah, awesome holiday, absolutely worked for us doing it this way. I still think it kind of works better than car seats, because the boys really don't like driving in cars and they get travel sick in the car, and they don't like the straps. But that's another thing that we'll slowly just practice and help them grow into and feel supported in, so that they feel able to do these things. But yeah, it was really great. Thank you for watching. Hope some bits of this were vaguely interesting. Obviously, it's quite a niche. In some ways, it's very niche, the subject of kind of like the neurodivergent, like autistic, this is how we needed to do it. The fact that we can't drive, it's quite a niche thing. But in other ways, it's quite a general thing, like how do you entertain your kids when you're traveling? So yeah, I hope that was interesting. I'll be back next Sunday for another video, which will be all about me going back to work. It is actually my first day back at work today after the summer holidays. Mum has got Boaz, so you'll probably notice I'm wearing the same clothes. I've taken the time to film this so I can upload this for this Sunday, but I'm also vlogging today and tomorrow. So I'll see you next week, and you can hear more about my plans for September and just kind of me chatting away about being back to work, and you can come along for the ride. So thank you so much for watching. Some of you are so kind and comment regularly, which I absolutely love. I love reading your comments and replying to you, and I so appreciate it. So thank you for watching. Please do subscribe and give the video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it, and I'll speak to you really soon.